RMU students participated in a Minute to Win It competition to help make one teen's dreams come true. What is being called the trial of the century is underway in South Africa, and Russia is getting increasingly aggressive with military action regarding Ukraine. Stay tuned for all that and more on RMU Live. Good afternoon and welcome back to RMU Live for Monday, March 3rd, 2014. I'm Leah Fleischel.
And I'm Victoria Lomax. Here's what's happening now.
Early Thursday afternoon, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reported that President Gregory DeLoma was expected to leave Robert Morris for LaSalle University in Philadelphia. LaSalle's Board of Trustees was expected to make a decision by the end of the day, but before they could, a statement was released from RMU just after 2:30 p.m. that said DeLoma had decided to withdraw his name for consideration from LaSalle University. Regarding his decision, DeLoma said, quote, "I wish LaSalle University the very best as their search continues. It was gratifying to know that the progress that's been made here at RMU caught the attention of this institution and allowed them to invite me to the recruitment process. At this point, I'm glad to get back to work with my great team at RMU to take us to the next level," end quote. DeLoma has been the president since 2005 and is under contract until May 31st, 2017. For the complete story, visit rmucenturymedia.com.
The Minute to Win It fundraiser for Dalton took place over the weekend in the cafeteria. RMU students and faculty members came out to play a variety of games costing $1 in support for a team named Dalton, who is suffering from a rare cancer. We talked to Larissa Milleron, who is Dalton's cousin.
We're doing a fundraiser. My younger cousin, his name's Dalton, and he lives in Maryland. He was diagnosed with a very rare aggressive cancer, and so we're trying to raise as much money and support him as we can. So right now we're doing a Minute to Win It event where every game is $1, and then the more games you play, the more prizes you can win. A Minute to Win It, we're not setting individual goals for each fundraiser, but our main goal is to raise $1,400 because he's 14, and so we figured a $1,400 goal would be a good goal for us to set. We have done a raffle at the basketball game. We're doing a raffle at the hockey game on Saturday. We've sold t-shirts, and AXP is getting really involved in doing Dalton as their cornhole beneficiary type thing. We want people to get involved because it's more of a cause that's close to home. The money doesn't go through a whole organization. It doesn't pay people salaries. It literally just goes straight to Dalton. I would like to thank everyone that has donated and everyone that's come to our events. We're getting a lot of support from Residence Life, from the Civic Engagement Office, from Student Life. A lot of the fraternities and sororities are helping us out, and then just a lot of individual students who just want to get involved are helping.
Make sure to check out other campus events supporting Dalton in his fight against cancer.
The Sisters of Delta Phi Epsilon used last week to raise awareness of eating disorders for anorexia nervosa and associated disorders, or NAD, week. They had encouraging post-it notes displayed on bathroom mirrors, a yoga class in Yorktown Hall, a candlelit vigil, and the popular Be You to Full fashion show. The fashion show focused on those walking in it being comfortable in their own skin and featured speakers who told their stories of their struggle with eating disorders.
Protesters gathered in the hundreds outside the UPMC building this morning, blocking traffic at the U.S. Steel Tower and part of Grant Street. Activists with the Service Employees International Union marched against the healthcare giant at 9 a.m. today. The event follows a protest that happened last week at the Steel Tower in which 9 protesters were cited for trespassing. They are fighting for higher wages for the service workers at UPMC. 5 men are on the run after a shooting in Homewood early Sunday morning. Police identified Vincent Edwards Holtz Jr. as one of the victims in the fatal shooting at the Rendezvous Phase 3 bar. Another victim, a 22-year-old man from Penn Hills, was rushed to West Penn Hospital and was treated for a wound to his arm. 4 people were wounded in the shooting, and Pittsburgh officials are still investigating.
Our own Eddie Sheehy is a man of many talents. Not only does he bring us the weather every week, but he also has a movie column for RMU Century Media, making him more than fit to be the one to recap last night's Oscars. Take it away, Eddie.
Last night, at just a little past midnight, the 86 Academy Awards came to a conclusion. The night was filled with plenty of laughs, tons of honorees, and many celebrities, but one thing the night seemed to be missing was an element of surprise. Hosted by Ellen DeGeneres, the night kicked off when actor and 30 Seconds to Mars lead singer Jared Leto took home the award for Best Supporting Actor. While his speech was exceptional and emotional, the winner was anything but surprising, a trend that continued throughout the night. 12 Years a Slave ultimately took home the award for Best Picture, clinching a win many suspected. Following suit, Lupita Nyong'o won for her role in Supporting Actress, Frozen won Best Animated Picture, Alfonso Cuarón won Best Director, and Cate Blanchett won Best Actress. All frontrunners in their categories, and all recipients easily picked weeks beforehand. Even the win by Matthew McConaughey was anything but surprising. As much as the internet wanted Leonardo DiCaprio to pull an upset, there was virtually no chance of it. It seemed that the most exciting parts of the night turned out to be the ones that had nothing to do with the actual awards. Highlights included Ellen DeGeneres getting pizza for the entire pool of nominees to share and subsequently asking everyone to help pay for it. As well as that, Ellen and Meryl Streep managed to break a world record by posting the most retweeted tweet in history, a tweet which, as of right now, has over 2.6 million retweets. All in all, the night concluded with what many considered to be the most successful Oscars in a long time. Ellen DeGeneres did a great job hosting, and while the winners were not exactly surprising, they were definitely well-deserved. Reporting for RMU Live, Eddie Sheehy. Back to you ladies on the desk.
Coming up next on RMU Live, we will update you on the situation in Ukraine.
And the trial of the century gets underway in South Africa. Stay tuned.
G-morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back.
Are you with your friends? That's lame.
We're in a huge fight right now. XO.
What do you dream about?
Something I did. Are you on your way to the
I'm
mall?
lonely.
Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblums, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby?
Susie? Don't worry, that's just the power of the art!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
You ever think about buying a bigger place? Just waiting for a visit from the credit fairy. There is no credit fairy. How else will I get a better credit score? Look, you keep your credit card balances low and only open a new card if you really need it. No fairy?
There's no magic to improving your credit, but there's help, and it's free. Go to creditfairy.org.
Oh, come on, Randy. Animal shelter, here I come. And no, I'm not crazy or emotionally damaged. That's a stereotype. I just belong to a total loser. I'm a good dog. So if you want a pet, adopt. And if you see Randy, tell him he dropped his wallet.
Welcome back to RMU Live for your national and world news. The situation in Ukraine is beginning to escalate further as Russia said around 11 this morning that if Crimea is not free of Ukrainian forces by 5 a.m. local time Tuesday, they will face a military storm. CNN reporter Andrew Spencer has more on Ukraine.
Americans of Ukrainian descent and others took to the street in New York.
Russian hands off Ukraine! Russian hands off Ukraine!
They marched together toward the Russian consulate, protesting what some see as a power grab by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
No, it's important for Americans to understand what's going on. I mean, you know, for those of us old enough to remember the Soviet Union, no one wants to return to the Cold War. And that potentially is exactly what we have.
Across the U.S., similar protests took place in Washington, D.C. and San Francisco. But not everyone feels the same way. In Crimea, an autonomous region of Ukraine with strong loyalty to Russia, a former soldier stands outside a Ukrainian military base waving a Russian flag. A Ukrainian defense official says Russian troops surrounded 3 military bases, demanding surrender. Putin mobilized ships in the Black Sea, citing a threat to Russian citizens and military personnel in Crimea. A senior U.S. administration official said by late Sunday Russian forces had, quote, complete operational control of the Crimean Peninsula. Ukraine's new leaders accused Russia of declaring war. responding by mobilizing troops and calling up military reservists. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is set to arrive in Kiev on Tuesday. He has condemned what he calls an incredible act of aggression on the part of Russia, and he warns economic sanctions could follow. I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Russia is not being accepting for criticism for their aggression in terms of military force, telling critics to put the interests of the Ukrainian people first.
A knife attack in a southwest China train station in the city of Kunming is being described as a premeditated terrorist attack. 29 people were killed in the attack and 130 were injured. Chinese authorities had managed to shoot 4 of the attackers, while the other 6 are still on the loose. Chinese President Xi Jinping is urging law enforcement to investigate this incident so that the attackers can be rightfully punished for their actions.
The trial for Paralympic star Oscar Pistorius begins today. Pistorius, who is facing one charge of premeditated murder in the shooting death of his girlfriend, 29-year-old Riva Steenkamp, says that he mistook his girlfriend for a burglar when he shot her. Pistorius is also facing a firearms charge associated with killing her and 2 separate gun indictments from previous incidents.
With hundreds of reporters and cameras waiting and parts of the so-called trial of the century carried live on TV, a first for South Africa, Oscar Pistorius arrived for day 1 of his murder trial.
In the district of Pretoria, the accused did unlawfully and intentionally kill a person to wit, Riva Steenkamp.
Do you understand the charges, Mr. Pistorius?
I do, my lady.
How do you plead?
Not guilty, my lady.
The amputee track star is accused of murdering his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp, on Valentine's Day last year in his home. Pistorius says he mistook Steenkamp for a burglar, but prosecutors maintain he killed the young model in cold blood following an argument.
I respectfully state that no truthful evidence can ever be tendered that I fired the shots, and I quote, because of the argument, unquote. I deny this allegation in the strongest terms because there was no argument. The allegation that I wanted to shoot, brackets, or kill, close brackets, Riva, cannot be further from the truth.
Pistorius' lawyers also revealed a key part of their case, alleging South African police botched the investigation.
It will also be demonstrated during this trial that whilst Botha was the investigating officer and tasked with preserving the scene, that the scene was contaminated, disturbed, and tampered with.
Members of Steenkamp's family were inside the courtroom, where they heard chilling testimony from the first witness. A neighbor who says on the night of Steenkamp's death, she was awakened by terrible screams coming from the Pistorius home.
She screamed terribly and she yelled for help. Then I also heard a man screaming for help, and he 3 times he yelled for help.
Only the audio of the neighbor's testimony was broadcast, but how she described the shooting could prove key to the prosecution's case.
Just after her scream, my lady, I heard 4 shots. It was 4 gunshots that I heard. The time between the first and the 4th shot was much longer than between the 2nd and the 3rd one. Bang. Bang, bang, bang.
Journalists from around the world are in Pretoria to witness the trial of the century, and the trial will be televised live.
According to a lawsuit filed February 20th by Dick's Sporting Goods, the CEO of Modell Sporting Goods showed up to a Dick's store in Princeton, New Jersey, and pretended to be a representative of the company. Mitchell Modell was trying to acquire confidential information about the rival sporting goods company. The Dick's company is accusing Modell of civil conspiracy and trespassing, and is furthermore seeking attorney's fees and a judge's order to prevent Modell and his workers from entering non-public areas of Dick's stores or posing as employees.
A 78-year-old man who is pronounced dead was transported to a funeral home in Mississippi as standard procedure goes. What wasn't standard was that Walter Williams started kicking the body bag while he was in the embalming room to be let out. Ambulances were called, and sure enough, Williams had a pulse and was breathing. Coroner Dexter Howard was certain Williams was dead and described the event as a resurrection and a miracle. Coming up after the break, our own Kristen Kudla updates you in the weekend sports action.
And Eddie Sheehy tells us what to expect from the weather this week. Stay tuned.
Of course, I am here with Romo.
How are you doing today, Romo? Great. All right, so Romo, just a few questions. How do you think the game is going right now for the Colonials? All right, on top of that, like, what do you think about the play of Paul Jones and this defense just demolishing Morgan State right now? All right, well, you heard it here first. Romo with his insight to the game. Back to you guys.
Be sure to tune in to Colonial Sports Center every Thursday, 9:30 p.m. on RMUCentralMedia.com and Channel 98 around the Moon Township area.
Romo, have you downloaded the app?
Romo, have you seen this app?
Hey, have you seen the app yet? No? All right, put it down. I'll show you what you can do. All you have to do is install it, and it'll open up for you. My favorite part of it is the Police Blotter. Check this out. When you click into it, you're going to go right to the top left, and as soon as you click on it, everything will be there that you need, so you can stay safe.
Download the RMU Century Media app on the App Store. Romo likes it, and so will you.
Welcome back to RMU Live. I'm Kristen Kudley here with your weekly sports wrap-up. Fourth nationally ranked Syracuse traveled to Charlottesville this Saturday to take on University of Virginia, who as of late had only lost one ACC play. After a tough first half, the Cavaliers commanded the second, outscoring the Orange 48-28, which would lead to Syracuse's defeat. With a final score of 75-56, the win marks 13 wins in a row for Virginia, as well as their first outright ACC regular season title in 33 years. The NHL Stadium Series concluded this weekend with the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Chicago Blackhawks, fighting the elements Saturday evening at Soldier Field. Snow began falling hours before the game and continued into the second period, but that wouldn't stop these teams from skating onto the ice. During stoppages of play, large quantities of snow had to be shoveled off the ice, but the Blackhawks appeared phased by the condition. Chicago showed their dominance early on and refused to let up. Eventually, the Pittsburgh Penguins weren't able to find what they needed to win and were defeated by Chicago with a final score of 5-1. In the world of soccer, it was a good week for Real Madrid as round 16 in the UEFA Champions League continued in Leg 1. Real Madrid flexed their muscles in Germany against Schalke. The star athletes came to play as 2013 Ballon d'Or winner Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, and Karim Benzema each scored twice as Los Blancos became the first away side to score 6 goals in the knockout round in Champions League. History as they cruised to a 6-1 victory. Madrid also continued their dominance in the league play as they were able to hold up onto the top spot in the league after 2-2 draw with Real Atletico Madrid in the Madrid Derby. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have, and that was a lot of sports. Now over to my favorite weatherman with a great head of hair, Eddie Sheehy.
Thank you, Kristen. That was a lot of sports, but we don't have that much weather for you today. Today, you can see the temperature outside is 19, and we got some sun, which is different than what we saw this weekend, though we didn't get nearly the snow we were supposed to. Tomorrow, we can expect much of the same with a temperature of 34. This chance of snow is 60%. So there could be some snow tomorrow, but look at that sun. The sun's saying, no, I just like the sun. I wish it would come out more. On to our 5-day. We've got some interesting weather throughout this entire week. As you could say, we're going to start with some more sun on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're going to get a lot of the same. High 30s, low 40s to mid 40s. No sun, but no snow, so, take your battles where you can win them. And then Sunday, we're going to get hit with some snow. My chance of snow on Sunday is 140%, but that's still kind of a ways off, so we can't be 100% sure of that. Thank you guys so much for watching RMU Live today on